Corvus was a short horror film, and it was about 6 friends who went on a road trip, and on the way up they run over this crow, and as a prank one of the boys hides the crow in one of the girls' bags, and they take it with them on the trip, and then later on they burn it, and the spirit of the crow comes out of the smoke and infects one of the teenagers, who then goes on basically a killing spree to take revenge. The thing I wanted to do with Corvus was I really wanted to sort of break what I'd seen in student films up to this point. A lot of student films are like just really long shots, long dramas, and like I really wanted to do something fun and adventurous, something that people could get behind, and like, yeah, really just something fun. I actually came up with the idea in first year, in the final week with Nat. I sort of pitched an idea that we should do a horror movie. When third year rolled around, it sort of gave us an opportunity, and I thought, well, why don't we do this project that we were always going to do? So I started just pitching it, and people seemed to get excited about it, so that's why I went with it.
Pretty much it was the group of people, and I was really excited about it because it was going to be a really fun script to make, I think.
It was going to be exciting because I knew that I would feel comfortable in the group, and I'd worked with Chris and Laura before, and that was really fun.
What drew me also into the project was knowing that I was going to be hanging out with all my friends. I think with my third year project I wanted to have fun as well as do something that was different.
I remember the story because Chris and I made it up back in first year, so I thought, you know what, I like these people, I'll just do whatever they need me to do.
It's just entertaining. I really wanted to do something that wasn't a drama, that wasn't about death. And
it kind of derived away from things that we've done in the past.
That's what drew me to it, and all my friends were working on it.
It is good working with your friends. I thought that I could trust them all to get their jobs done, and that they would do them, and for the most part they did.
Let the people speak.
Okay, so as you will be aware, we have had a very epic struggle trying to get this film baby off the ground. And unfortunately we've got a deadline to work to, and that is the end of this year, just so that we have something to hand in to graduate. And with all of us working together on this film and our separate availabilities, we've discovered that it's not going to be able to happen in that time frame. It is kind of quite sad that it's not going to be able to happen the way that we thought we wanted it to happen. But the other thing is, we have, as we've already just pointed out to you, we've been filming the process all the way along, and for submission we've decided to make a documentary explaining why the film didn't work. So I'm just wondering how you feel.
It's fine if it gets you guys graduating. Yeah.
Probably the most difficult thing was when Corvus ended, because all of the other projects, even though they were tough, they came to completion, and you had something at the end to show for all your hard work. And with Corvus it just sort of abruptly finished.
We've seems to have the worst luck in so many aspects of the project, and like when you don't have control of a project, like how can you complete it?
It was only stressful because I really wanted to make this film, and I felt like all the forces were against us.
Just realising, okay, maybe it's time that we take the next step, take this somewhere else, because there's no way this is going to happen.
Just like everything that could go wrong went wrong in that film.
Like watching the Corvus ship sink like the Titanic and not knowing how to sort of keep it afloat.
They'll be fine, Georgie. Jesus!
You don't have to yell at me.
And you didn't even have to be here!
It was the first time I'd ever done auditions, so yeah, I had a lot of fun doing it. It was really good. It's really good to see other people just interpreting your work.
Okay, are you ready for it? Are you? Scott Paulson's brother.
Shit, man, are you okay?
It's really funny seeing sort of how extreme some people can interpret it. I was pretty happy with most of the people we cast. Well, I was pretty impressed with who we cast as our original Jason. I think he was our strongest actor before we had to recast that role.
Sorry, Jamie, I'm gonna toast this motherfucker. Whoa, he's fucking flared up.
So probably the first problem we had was with the casting of our original Jason. He was underage. It turns out when we gave him a release and his parents had to sign it, the parents weren't happy with the contract we'd given them, and then they contacted the school and sent them a really long email. I haven't even read it. Apparently it's full of lots of legal jargon. Then we had to recast him and find someone else, and that was getting pretty close to the shoot date.
Don't worry, babe, we'll be shit-faced soon enough. It's a fucking crow.
Our second Jason was he only came in for one rehearsal before we actually shot. And going on to the next problem.
Obviously for Corvus we needed a crow. We didn't realise initially how much that entailed. So we looked for fake props, and that sort of didn't really cut it unless we made something ourselves, which none of us are really good bird makers. Where did we get a crow, Lucy?
From Natalie?
It started in about March or April, I think. After talks with Chris and Lani, we all sort of decided that a dead bird would be more realistic than a prop bird.
It was one of the things that we sort of were organised on. We started looking for a bird quite early because we knew that it was probably going to be hard to find.
So I started to call some national parks, and I was like, this is a really strange question. I'm working on a film and we need a dead crow. And they're like, first of all, you mean raven? And I realised that crows don't actually exist in the state of Victoria at all, so erroneous. We were wrong. Another sanctuary I called said, we can't help you, but try the Department of Sustainability and Environment. So I called them, and the lady that I spoke to after being put through to different departments was really helpful. She's like, yeah, sure, we can help you. You just need to get a license for it, because once you've got that license to keep the dead specimen, then I can give you the bird. So I started applying for what I thought was the right license I needed, which is a private specimen license, and realised that I needed an exhibitor or a taxidermist license, which is actually a commercial specimen license, not a private one, and they cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So I freaked out a little bit and called Lani, and we didn't really decide anything. And so all that happened, and I called a taxidermist, and he said, oh no, we're actually really busy at the moment, but why don't you try writing a letter to the department and just ask for an exemption? So I did that and didn't hear back from them because the letter went to the wrong department, of course. But then I was also trying to negotiate the whole idea of filming the dead raven, and that was the other difficulty, because apparently the department that I'd sent the letter to weren't happy about the fact that we were actually depicting burning Australian wildlife. Because it was Australian and we were burning it, they were like, no, you can't do that. That's sending out the wrong idea to the millions of people that are going to see your short student film. Apparently we could have taken them to the Wildlife Tribunal or something. The guy that I spoke to was actually really helpful, one of the guys I spoke to, and he said, if you could try getting a raven from Western Australia that's not protected in Victoria, but that'll cost you money to import. I can help you, but it's going to cost you a bit. Or you could shoot it in South Australia where the birds aren't protected, or you could use a different bird such as an Indian minor bird and pretend it's a crow, or you could change the script and do pigeons, and then he started talking to me about how people are scared of pigeons because pigeons are really scary, so maybe we should make the whole film about pigeons instead. So I kind of gave him a thanks but no thanks, and that's basically as far as we got. It kills me because I so badly just wanted to shove a garbage bag over one of them and take it away with me. At the same time wondering, what have I become? Why? What has this film made me do? The whole story is about the crow, so no crow, no film.
I remember for many months I was looking on every nature strip just on the chance that a dead crow would be there and I could freeze it and keep bringing it on the shoot. And thankfully Nat found a magpie, which is the same kind of shape and size as a crow. And so to get past all the white that was on the crow, we decided to spray paint it black. And it actually looks so much like a crow. So yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, well, that The crow proved to be troublesome.
We painted a magpie black. I forgot about that.
Yes.
Looked pretty realistic. It was a pretty good job.
Yeah.
That went well.
And we didn't kill it, obviously.
Oh, but we left it on the road. Should I say that? We left it on the road? Yeah.
I meant to say that. I really think crows are just a bad omen because
seriously, everything that
just
could
had
have gone
bad luck.
wrong went wrong.
Yep.
Yeah, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be shooting just over that 1 week, but we've also got the chance that, weather problems and all that sort of stuff. So as long as you guys don't have a problem with maybe, having to go back and maybe a day, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later or something to do like a scene again, or if we run out of time, would that be a problem? No? That's cool.
I just remember thinking, like, the whole week before, I can't believe I'm shooting next week. We didn't do any camera tests at the locations that we were going to be shooting at. We'd only done camera tests at the cabin, which we knew that we didn't have at the time. So I just felt like so underprepared.
Well, we got lost on the way there, so I got there frazzled.
I remember when we first got there, like the sun was going down, and we'd planned to get this day scene shot. So we didn't have any time for that, and that was really bad. And we knew we were going to have to reschedule that for the second shoot. So the problems were already stacking up, and we hadn't even started.
Yeah, it was quite stressful.
Especially with, an exterior scene.
Especially when it's cold and there's threats of rain.
It could have gone really wrong because we had this huge light that was bigger than a basketball ring, and it had this big electrical box with it that pretty much said, if wet, be careful because you're going to get electrocuted. And it starts raining. We're moving this big pole in the dark with the generator that's down that way somewhere. We don't know, we've got extension cords that are getting wet.
It could have turned into a real horror story.
The first scene we shot, which was the toilet block death scene, that went really well. We spent a lot of time on it. It was probably the most comfortable I was on set for the whole time. I feel like we did a pretty good job of it.
Zach!
After that, that's when things started to go wrong, when the generator started to run out and we didn't have any backup petrol, and we're in Inverloch, which is basically nowhere. And I remember we were halfway through shooting the most pivotal scene of the film, the final climactic battle, and it was already on empty, and we were just doing one takes, rushing everything. I didn't get time to go through performance with actors if I really had a problem with it, because basically we just had to rush to get it shot.
Like, if you follow it like that, oh sorry. No, that was... Action.
The keynote started.
Yeah.
Action.
Emily, you're in shot, sorry.
Action. They were supposed to be struggling.
Yeah. Oh, we know.
It's my bad.
Action.
Rolling.
And that at that moment, I realized that we were never going to get everything we wanted to get done on that day, and that was just basically what was going to happen for the rest of the show. with splitting the shoot, it was actually a decision that me and Lani made, and like it was basically the only decision we had left. We didn't feel like we had a choice.
So when I actually thought, shit, this film is not going to happen, was probably when we didn't have the location of the cabin. Like Lani, the producer, couldn't get onto the cabin owners, and that was what was going to make the film, that location. And the fact that we couldn't get that location was just, you know, a nightmare.
We'd found this perfect cabin, and it had taken us months and months to find. And we went down there, met them. They were lovely. It was a beautiful place. And then all of a sudden, for like 2 months, no one could get in touch with them. Not me, not the guy who'd originally found them for us.
And so we had this big group meeting, and Lani's like, okay, we're going to have to split the filming up.
I didn't expect for us to be shooting so much later, like from July to September. So yeah, in hindsight, it was a pretty bad idea.
We had the suggestion that we should just reshoot the entire thing, scrap what we already had. Of course, we'd have to go through the process of recasting and then the cost of the shoot again, and we'd already spent something like $800 on it, which, seeing as it was meant to be almost a no-budget production, to shoot that again would have just been out of our league, I think. So every single path we sort of went halfway down, and then got halfway down it and realised that it wasn't going to happen.
I did always want to complete the project, so it was really disappointing, and it's really disappointing now going around uni and seeing all the writers and actors projects coming together and looking really good, and then I don't have one.
I had an inkling from the start, I suppose, that we were all maybe a little bit immature or naive at the start, and I kind of wanted to get into it and knuckle down a bit, but it never really eventuated.
I think, yeah, like Emily was saying, a bit naive about all that stuff. But that's because I guess we're friends, and it's hard to be professional when we all enjoy each other's company.
I think the reason why we all got together though was because it was going to be the fun project, but because we didn't estimate that our year was going to be so hectic, we ended up neglecting the fun project.
I guess, yeah, because you don't have a purely working relationship, you're just bound to muck around on set and have fun, and that can detract from the job that you have to get done.
It's good working with friends, but at the same time it's almost hard because you can't separate the good times from working, you know, and that sort of might have been the reason why this film failed, because we were too busy having a good time that we didn't really think too much about the project and making it, you know, work.
I think we worked a lot better than some of the other crews I've been on where people aren't friends, because, you know, if something needed to be done, we could like say it to each other, and, you know, the other person wouldn't get upset that they were being bossy or whatever, because we all know each other so well.
It's so hard when you really care about the people you're working with. You can't be really clinical and just be like, I need this now, do this, don't do that. Like, you sort of feels a little bit like you're treading on eggshells a bit. I've sort of learnt how important it is to have a team that is in sync with each other.
But I guess this is the time to fail. This is the time to learn, and maybe if I had to redo 2009, I would just do this again. Because, you know, I think I've grown a lot, so I have that to thank Corvus for.
And I definitely think that this has been a huge learning experience, and like I know that I can be so much more prepared for everything that can go wrong, and I can take those experiences into the workforce, and I think that maybe it might even be better for it that we failed, and we can recognise that and be stronger for it.
It teaches us a lot of valuable lessons for the future, so I think it's been a good experience overall.
Even with Corvus, I've learnt a lot about, you know, what can happen on the film set, and being underprepared.
This year's been about learning. I think that's what Corvus has been about.
It's not a negative really to fail, it's just another step forward in the end because you do learn something from it.
It was a rewarding shoot. It just didn't get anything out of it like a film. We don't have anything to show for it. That's all.
Yeah.
But like, it was fun.
We don't have anything tactile to show for it.
Yeah.
But we
That's
have
what I mean
something
to
show
say.
for it.
Like,
Each
we'll
other.
always remember it.
You're gonna have to go with. Sorry, but I'm gonna toast this motherfucker.
Hallelujah. I can't even say it.
My favourite line, Scott Paulson's brother.
How about I'm gonna toast this motherfucker.
Pass me the water. It was that line.
Abracadabra! Alice Shazam!
We should revise this.
Fuck!